Hey everybody, I'm Jim Malone, and this is Dallas Trading Floor. It is Friday. Friday! Finally, made it all the way through the week. Hopefully, you made it through the week pretty well too, and you aren't too beat up. We had a really good trade on a bear put spread on Disney. Unfortunately, Disney's earnings took a dive, but our some of our members, our Discord members, they made money, so that's kind of cool. It's always cool when everybody makes money, and you know we. We here we are, and it's Friday, and hopefully everyone is going to have a good weekend. It's been a really tough market to trade. It's just kind of a weird, just a weird market, and so I'm concentrating on trades for our Discord members that will benefit from some of the market volatility. So let's see. Do we have anybody? Okay, let's see if we get into the questions. And first question. Thank you very much. Thoughts on Microsoft? And Microsoft has been kind of, I don't know, it's kind of been, moving lower, and it's tough. It's a tough market, man, to trade. So I'm trying to limit my risk on all my trades, and but let's take a look at Microsoft. Let's kind of get an idea, because this really is a bellwether stock, and it's very important in the grand scheme of things. It is sort of the granddad of all of the mega cap techs. And it is sort of been, I was about a week ago, and it's since then it's been kind of, it's just kind of tough to trade. And let's go over to the window. Let's take a look at the chart for Microsoft, and yeah, so let's kind of do that. Take some of these banners off. There we go. Oh, okay. Well, let's get this banner off. Okay. Yep. There we go. And let's go full screen, because we kind of want to see it really well here. Looking at the weekly chart, we've again, and I'm going to go to the daily chart. We've pulled below that very key 50-day line, and and then we bounced, up. So we're in a buy zone right now on Microsoft. Would I be buying it at this level? Well, maybe. Maybe, at least from what I'm seeing, it is, we're going to see possibly a minor correction in the NASDAQ. So this might not be a bad entry point for Microsoft, because it looks as if, we've kind of, the trend here is Microsoft has been coming down to that 50-day line and then kind of bouncing. Well, it bounced, and then it went all the way up to 283, pulled back through the 21-day line to the 50-day line, and then it looks like it's bounced higher. Now, that's the good news. The bad news on this is I'm not so sure. I'm very skeptical these days. It's only got a relative strength of 47, which for the techs is very good. I mean, mind you, this is still Microsoft. So would I buy it here? Well, I might consider buying it here. Because I do long term like the prospects for Microsoft. But here's the problem: I don't want to expose. I don't want to totally expose my. I don't want to totally expose myself right now to. Oops, I got to go back to my. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to totally expose myself to to the stock. So I might consider going in with a quarter position. Boy, that's wimpy. but that's kind of what I would consider doing. I would consider, what is a quarter position? Well, if you take the value of your portfolio and you divide it by 8, that gives you 8 full positions, kind of like a pizza. I don't even want a full piece of pizza on this one. I think I might go for a quarter piece of a pizza. Boy, that is wimpy, but I just think right now it's a tough market to trade. So I definitely think you could go into this one. I definitely think that you can go in, but I want to go in very light, because I want to see it move above, about the $250 level before I'm really all in. So I think you could start moving in here, but let's see how this thing closes. Here's what I would do. Here would be my strategy for Microsoft. It's definitely in a buy zone, no question about that, and it's a strong stock, no question about that. The thing is, I want to see how it closes today. I want to see if it can hold this. I wouldn't buy this before Monday. Now, if on Monday it holds this level, this about 250, 248, 250 level, then I think you could possibly go in. But right now, I don't know if I'd buy it at the end of the day. You're going to have that risk over the weekend. So my kind of my 2 cents on this is that it's a great stock, it's a great company, and we are sort of in a sideways market now, though. So this is why you got to be careful. In a sideways market, it's more difficult to it's just more difficult to trade. That's all. So you want to go in lighter and you want to get out quicker. That's just the main thing. But I think you can buy Microsoft at this level. The only thing is go in very light, but don't go in today. Don't there's no reason to buy it today and then have it drop over the weekend and then be sorry. So what I would do is watch this one for now. Come Monday morning, if it can hold that, if it can hold that 250 level, then after about 10 o'clock, the first hour is really tough to trade in. Then I possibly think you could go into it. Let's look at the 15-minute chart, see how it's been trading. Well, it's starting to move up here, but still, yeah. But there's been a lot of buying. This is a very solid buying bar. So it seems as if there are people coming into this. So personally, I wouldn't want to take the risk over the weekend, but it looks as if, at least for right now, that people are starting to come into the market. This is the 15-minute chart. We have a very nice volume bar, and we're at about this 249 level. I think that it may be starting its move. It really has a range. Microsoft these days really has a range from about this 250 level, which is sort of a pivot to 246, up to about 263. So there's about 12 to $15 worth of movement in there. So I do think that this is oscillating higher. So I do believe you could come in here. I would be, try to ride it up to about, 263 or so. And then, if it moves past that, of course, that's great. But that's my thoughts on Microsoft. Still extremely strong stock, just a tough market to trade in. So that's the main issue here. Is with that kind of thing. So very, very good question. Really, 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 really good question. Oh, hey, thank you, man. Thank you, Mr. Patel. I really appreciate you watching. Please tell your friends. I hope you will, because we have people, believe it or not just all over the U.S. and Canada, and some people in Dubai and India. So we're getting out there. Hopefully, let's look at Riot Blockchain, RIOT. And my job here, hopefully, sometimes I don't do this well in it, is to make you money. That's the main thing. I want to make you money, and and it helps me become a better trader too. So believe me, it's a good thing. Here's the thing with Riot Blockchain. The question is, has Riot Blockchain bounced? That's a very, very good question. This black line here that we're looking at, this is what they call the 200-day moving average. I typically will not buy anything that's fallen below the 200-day average. Now, the converse of that is one of the best places to buy a stock is when it bounces off the 200-day average. Here's the thing. It's up today. Riot Blockchain is up today. But the question is, has it bounced off the 200-day line? Well, it certainly kind of looks like it. It's pulled down to that, and then it looks like it might have bounced, but I just don't know. So here's the thing. I already have a trend line on here drawn, but I'm going to put another one in because I think that it's worthwhile to do that. I wouldn't buy Riot Blockchain at this time. Why? Because I think it needs to absolutely confirm a reversal, and that reversal line is the one I'm drawing here right now. Now, why is this a reversal line? Well, if you look at the way that I have. If you look at the way that the line goes, it goes from the high, which is about 76.50, through 2 points. It's kind of, this is like, you're back in high school, you're back in algebra class, and you're doing those graphs. That's what this is. So I'm going to set an alert on that line. Well, let's see if I can do it. Let's make sure that I can. All right. So I'm going to try to set another alert on that line, but I don't think it's ready yet to buy it. I just don't, because it still has. I don't believe this line has fully reversed. That's my thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it again to see if I could draw that trend, that reversal line. And what this is this is a reversal off of, there we go. That's the line. Okay, well, it's not letting me. So I probably would be looking, I might buy this. Right now, I would not buy this. Right now, I would not buy Riot Blockchain at all. But based on this, if it moves above about 37 or 38, then I might consider it. But I won't consider it until then. So let me see if I can come back and show you kind of what I'm doing with that. This line that I've drawn here is the trend line. And basically what I want to do is, right now, Riot Blockchain is in a downward trend. It's moving lower based on this chart with the price action. The volume action is moving up, as you can see. There we go. And this and you notice that these are red bars. Now today we got a blue bar, so we may have the beginning of a reversal. But right now there's lots of selling pressure, because you can see all these red bars all in a row. That's sell, 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 sell. So right now, this stock is in a downtrend, as you can see. So here's my strategy on that. I would wait until we see a confirm that it is going to be moving higher, and that would be above 40. Currently, Riot is at 28. And it's up today, but I want to see it higher. I don't want to buy it at 28. I want to buy it more like 38. You say, well, Jim, why would you do that? Why would you spend more money? Well, remember, stocks are a strange thing. It's not like going to the supermarket and buying the best thing that's on sale, because when you do that, you're the end user. In stock trading, you're never the end user. You're basically like a dealer. So what you're doing is you're buying something, and then you're getting the very best merchandise that you can, and then selling it at a higher price. Hopefully, that's the key. So we want to buy the best merchandise. Right now, this merchandise is not the best merchandise, unfortunately. I wish it were better. Oops, I lost my. There we go. I'm back with my my ugly mug there. It's not the best merchandise. So I want to see if it moves above 40, then it's more, right now, Riot Blockchain is an old Buick, and we want a Tesla. So I want to see it move up there. So my advice on this one, I don't think you want to be in Riot Blockchain, but let's see if it confirms a reversal. If it confirms a reversal by going above about 40, then I think you want to consider it. But right now, I just don't think you can, unfortunately. Just because it's just the way it's trading. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. Happy Friday to you, too. Thanks so much for watching, by the way. DMTK came off of a good Q1, and Tesla, maybe 2000. Well, let's look at Tesla. I think Tesla's really important. It's very, very instructive. Of course, I'm still a Tesla bear. Long term, I like Tesla, but I'm a trader, so I had to bail out of Tesla when it pulled back more than 7% below where I had bought it. It's violated a very key line, and that's the 200-day moving average right here. Okay, this is a very key line, because it seems like it may be holding on at about 580, but right now it just is still in a downturn. This is kind of the same situation that we have with Riot Blockchain. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing this trend line here from the very top at 900 all the way down to 780, and I can't even really consider buying this thing, unfortunately, until it gets until this line. Let's see if it'll let me click on that line. Yeah, until that line, until let's see if it'll let me set that alert. Well, no, goodness gracious, it just doesn't let me do it. But anyways, what happens is right now Tesla is pulling back. and it hopefully will bounce off the 200-day line. This can be a very good place to buy a stock, but I don't want to buy it right now. I want to see it confirmed an uptrend. So I won't even buy this until it moves to about 680. Right now it's at 588. So I'm hoping to see a bounce on Tesla. But right now, I think if you're in Tesla and you're down more than 7%, I would consider selling it. Wait until it bounces and moves higher, because there's an awful lot of what they call overhead supply, meaning that there's a lot of people that bought it above about this line here, as you can see, and there's sort of this mountain here. And then, okay, well, they had a chance to sell, and then and some of them did, and then they had another chance to sell, and then they did, kind of to get break even. But now it's going back down. So even if this thing turns around, there's a lot of overhead supply on there's a lot of overhead supply on Tesla. So what that means is that there's people that bought it up here at 850 and that kind of thing. They held on to it, and now when it comes back, you see they're going to be selling it. And they're going to be selling it right at about 680. So I don't even really want to buy it again until it's above about 680. I still really like the stock. I'm not negative on Tesla at all, but I just think you got to be really careful. I really do. It's a tough it's a tough one to trade right now. Matter of fact, all of the trades are like that, unfortunately, right now. So, hey, good question. Oh, wait, we didn't do the other one. DMTK. Let's look at DMTK and see what's going on there. DMTK. And let's see. Okay, DermTech. Don't know about this one really, but I have looked at it before. I have marked it up. I have a markup line on there. Here's the thing about DermTech. It's in a downward trend, unfortunately, as you can see. It looks like it might have bounced off that 200-day line. You'll notice that a lot of these NASDAQ stocks are looking very similar in terms of the ones, because that's sort of how the NASDAQ has been trading. It's sort of like if you're at the beach and you see the tide flowing out. Well, the tide right now is flowing out of many of the NASDAQ stocks. But the Dow stocks have done well. The NASDAQ stocks, not as much. And I'm going to go over the list of areas pretty quickly, in a few minutes. But basically what's happening with DermTech is that it's still in a pullback. And even though it's up today, I don't want to buy it. I just don't want to buy it, Carl, because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it is indeed reversed. You see, because it's going down and then it's coming up a little bit, going down some more, coming up a little bit, going down, coming up, going down. So if you look at this chart, you'll see that the line in the sand is this 200-day line. If it can bounce off the 200-day line, it looks like it's getting a little bit of support there. If it can, then it possibly could move higher. But right now, I just think you got to be super careful with this one. Based on the charts, I don't really think this is a good chart. And so if you're in DermTech, I've pulled back to the weekly chart. If you're in DermTech, I would consider possibly possibly closing your position. Now, it is true they had some really, really good earnings, but here's the thing, and this is a really tough thing. Earnings don't typically always determine the price of the stock. Why? Well, because it's sort of like that old saw, buy on rumor, sell on news. Well, people bought on rumor and then they sold it after it confirmed it. For whatever reason, it went up, but it didn't go up enough, or who knows what's going on. So this is why I always recommend, unless you have a profit cushion of 10% in a stock, going into earnings, you want to sell it. You want to sell it on the day of earnings, because typically that's the day you're going to get your highest price. That's just how it is. It's not fair. I know it's not fair. This is why when I do bear put spreads, and I just did one on Disney, that's why I'm always a little bit bearish, not bullish, even if the company is doing well. Now, if I get the whiff that the company is going to have problems like I did with Disney, then I go to the bear side. So with this one, I just don't think you can buy it. It doesn't look. It may bounce off the 200-day line. It's gone through earnings, but I do think it's probably. It might get some support at about the $30 level. It's at 33. We'll see, but I just wouldn't buy this one right now. It's in a downward trend, and I just think that you just got to be careful. This is one of the things that I always say. The first thing that you do when you look at a stock is you open up those charts, go to the weekly charts, and then see what the trend is right now. This is a from Seattle to Miami trend. That's not the trend you want. The trend you really want is the trend you want is Los Angeles to New York. That's the trend you want. This is a Seattle to Miami. So you don't want to buy Seattle to Miami. You want to buy New York. You want to buy Los Angeles to New York. So I wouldn't buy this one. Long story short, and I've kind of beaten a dead horse there. Any updates on SECO? I got shaken out of this one too. This is a Southern Copper, and they're a big copper miner in Mexico, and I may be back with this one. Even though it's pulled back, because I want to show you the weekly chart on that, and really, right now in this market, it's actually the weekly chart that we should be looking at, and not the daily chart. They just came through earnings, and boy, they were good. Look at that. They were up 254% on the profit, and the sales were up 47%. Now, after telling you, on the last slide, profits don't matter. Well, that's true. That's true. But this is kind of a special exception, because this company is not an innovative company at all. It's not. Southern Copper is not innovative. It is in a commodity sector. They pull dirt out of the ground, and then they smelt it, and boom, you got copper. So with commodity companies, sales and volume make a lot of difference, because typically they will move higher on higher commodity prices, and that's their case here. Now, the question is why? What's happening with Southern Copper? After that said, why is it pulling back? It shouldn't be. It should be going higher. Well, I do believe, I do believe that if the price of copper goes up, but I do think we're going to see a bounce on Southern Copper, probably at about the 50-day line. That's my guess. Is it's going to come down to that, and it's going to go boom, and it's going to reverse higher. The reason is it saw some resistance at 83.15. It looks like it's going to get some, hopefully going to get some support here, just a little bit below this level at about 68. So what would I do with this? Well, if I was in it, this is one of the reasons I typically do not hold. I try not to hold through earnings. Well, I blew this one, because I did hold through. I did hold through earnings this time myself, and I got shaken out. That happens a lot. And I know that rule, and I've got to be really, really vigilant on it. But I do think this one, you will see this one rebound. It's trading basically from about a $20 range, from about 63 on up here to about 83. So I do think that we're going to see a reversal. Now, would I buy it today if I didn't have it? No, I would wait until we confirm a reversal. And I do think it's going to pull down to the 50-day line, and then we'll start to see a reversal. So that's kind of my best take on Southern Copper. Let's take a look to see if I'm just taking a look at the TikTok here. Okay. Are you not doing much on crypto? Okay. Well, yeah, I'm kind of keeping out of the crypto a little bit, just because it's a little bit more difficult to trade. I'm primarily an equity trader and a spread trader. I'm primarily an options trader, and not a crypto trader, because crypto is really, really different than a lot of these things. So I don't trade it as much. Here's what I do with crypto is I do trade crypto, but I trade it through basically an ETF. And the reason is because I go in and out of cash, and that's the GBTC. So let's take a look what the GBTC is doing today. GBTC is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and it looks like it's gotten a little bit of support there. The reason the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is so important is because they hold about 4% of the world's Bitcoin, and that is kind of important. So it looks as if it seems like we've gotten some resistance here at about 40. Now, here's the thing with Dogecoin. Dogecoin. Excuse me, it's a doggy coin there. Not supposed to say that. My intern corrected me the other day, and he's like, "No, it's not Dogecoin. It's Dogecoin." Well, I still think it's Dogecoin. I think it's Dogecoin, but anyways, what do I know? So with Dogecoin, I will spin this thing again. With Dogecoin, I think you got to be a little bit a little circumspect. I just, you know, I know people really like it. And I probably will be getting more into trading it, but right now I'm just not trading it as much as some other people are. That's for sure. So let's see if we can take the next question. And there we go. Oh, okay, this is a question on VOO, and of course, this is an ETF, which is basically the S&P. And right now, I think you're very smart, Kate, to be in this because, interestingly enough, for years and years and years, most of my time, anyways, the Nasdaq has been the leading index. Well, things have changed. Right now, it's the S&P that is doing the best, and it's up today. It's up very nicely, $6.35. So let's kind of see if we can look on the weekly to see, kind of what's happening. Well, it's just, slow and steady wins the race here. It's looking very, very good. We had a major buying activity, so people are moving into the S&P index. So it looks very, very good. So it looks like we bounced off the 50-day moving average, and it looks like we're headed higher. So at least in the near term, maybe the next 2 weeks or so, this looks pretty darn good. Kate, this looks really good, actually. And I might put some of my stuff in it. Normally, I'm not a big index investor, but, you know, uh, here's the thing. When the market goes sideways like this, or it changes from growth, sometimes the best strategy is to invest in indexes like the S&P 500 index, and then basically just trade options. And that sometimes you can do better that way, and it's a little safer. So that's very, very good that you bring that up, Kate. Appreciate it very, very much. Watching from Sweden. Hey, looking for Futu. Okay, well, Futu. Thank you, by the way, for Carl for watching from Sweden. I have never been to Sweden, and I've always wanted to go. I've always gone. I wonder if you're in Bergen or if in. No, I'm sorry. That's Norway. Excuse me. If you're in Malmo or if you're in Stockholm, I always have wanted to go to the country. But anyways, let's look at Futu. Futu, and that is Futu Holdings. Well, here's the thing, Carl, and I sound like negative. So negative here, but we do have a very strong relative strength at 99, but currently the trend is down on this one. The question is, where can we buy it if we're already in it and we're down more than 7%? I would really strongly advise selling it, at least for the time being. At least for the time being, I would consider selling it and basically waiting for a more opportune time to buy it. The problem with this right now is that if you go to the weekly chart, and this is what I always start at, you start at the weekly chart. We were in an uptrend up until about January, but since January, like the rest of the tech markets, we've been moving downwards. So this is one that I just don't think you want to enter a position. Now, they had some very, very good earnings in last quarter, and their earnings are in 5 days. Here's my thought on this. If you're going to buy, you might be able to day trade this one, okay? Because it does look like it's going up. It does look like it's going up into earnings. But if I did buy this one, if I bought this one, I would only hold it for 4 days. And here's why. When you go through earnings, it's typically going to go down. So let's take a look. Look at this one. Last time earnings were up 880%. But guess what happened? The stock went down. Can you believe it? So my guess is this is going to be the repeat of that. So let's take a look here. Well, 2 quarters ago, same thing. The earnings just exploded. The stock went down. Same thing 3 quarters ago. So we're seeing a trend here. And the trend is this stock goes up, and then earnings happen, and it goes down. So you possibly can make a little bit of money into earnings, but I would not hold this through earnings. I would absolutely not hold this through earnings. Now, it's in 5 days, so that means earnings are going to be on Wednesday next week. So if I was in this one, I would sell on Tuesday. I think you want to sell this one on Tuesday. That's kind of what you want to do because, so sell it next on Tuesday. Tuesday. And you say, Jim, how can you know this? Well, I don't know this. I'm no expert, but the chart's telling me that every time this goes through earnings, it pulls back. So if you want to make a short-term gain on this one, Carl, go and basically hold it until the day before earnings or the day of earnings, and then sell it, because you're going to probably do the best that way. So very, very good. I probably would not initiate a new position in this one, but if you're holding it and you're comfortable with that, I would probably look to sell, and possibly on Tuesday, the day before earnings or the day of earnings, if it's after hours. So that's what I would do with that one. You trade typically pretty much the same with the same chart analysis as volatile stocks. Absolutely. What I do, yeah, exactly. That's a very, very good. That's a very, very good viewpoint. Now, here's how I trade. Now, I've done a little bit with Dogecoin, not a whole lot. I want to kind of show you something that you might be interested in, because here's the thing. Here's the thing about markets, and it's very interesting. All markets behave essentially the same way because they're both supply and demand. So you can use chart analysis. You know, it's not exclusive to chart analysis is not exclusive to stocks or to bonds, or it's any market where you have buyers and sellers meeting at a price. You can use chart analysis. That's what's so powerful about chart analysis. But let's look at everybody's favorite Dogecoin. I mean Dogecoin, Dogecoin. So let's take a look, see if we can get a chart on Doggy. Let's look at that doggy chart. Okay, here we go. Here's the doggy chart. Let's take a look to see if the dogs are barking. Oh goodness. Okay, so I'm going to look at this is the Dogecoin chart. And oops, well, I said it was a Dogecoin. Let me change the chart here. Make sure that I can get the right one. And I'm just sharing a different window of my computer. That's what I'm doing here now. So there we go. All right, so this is basically the price action. It's about 75 cents. It's spiked up. So let's look at the day. Let's go with the daily action. Well, that's very nice. Price increases, and then but here's the thing: most people only look at the price action. What you really want to look is at the volume action. That's this down. That's below this. So the volume act. This is the the volume action. Does it show the volume? Oh, I guess this one doesn't. Okay, so this is the last 7 days, and this is the last month. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the last month. Well, we're currently in a downward trend, as you can see. So would I buy Dogecoin right now? Well, no, but I would consider possibly looking at Dogecoin I would consider buying it if it moves above about 75 cents. Okay, that's what I would do, because that's going to be a higher high. You never want to buy anything until it's at least, you don't want to buy anything until it's near its higher high. Currently, it's at 56.9. That's where Dogecoin is right now. Well, I wouldn't buy this until it reached about 73 cents. Then I would consider buying it on rising volume only. Let's see if I can get a good volume chart for Dogecoin. Let's see, I can see volume chart for Doge, Dogecoin. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get a volume chart on it. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, okay. I think this might be a better chart here. All right, let's look at the volume. There we go. Is this the volume? Okay. I think is this. There we go. Okay. So let's zoom on over. Let's zoom on over to this. This is the best color. I'm afraid I liked a better color, but basically, let's look at the month chart and see how it's trading. Well, this is the weekly chart. I'm sorry. Let's go to the monthly chart. There we go. So basically, what's happened is, as you can see, as the price goes up, the volume spikes as well. So we want to see increasing volume here. And if there is some increasing volume, but I'm not ready to buy yet. I would pull the trigger if I had increasing volume and I was at about 73 cents. So that would kind of give you an idea of how I would be trading doggy coin, which I'm not trading right now. I might add, I'm not trading it right now. But if I were trading it, that would be how I would be trading. Be trading doggy coin right now, because you always want to buy something as it's going up and it's on higher volume. So you want to do higher highs on higher volume. And right now at 56, doggy coin is probably a little bit off of its higher highs. Its high is about 78 cents. So we want to see it move higher, and then we possibly want to jump in. And then the way you do it, it's very simple. It's sort of like with a climax top. You jump in when it gets to a higher high, and then you immediately set your stop loss, and you move that stop loss up. Eventually, it'll pull back, and you'll be sold out, hopefully at a profit. So that's how you really would. That's how I would play it. Is as it's moving higher, you want to move that stop loss up, and then when it pulls back, you want to you'll be sold out. So the most important thing is always try to buy at near the high within 15% of the highest high for doggy coin, and I think you'll do very well. So it's an interesting way to play it. All right, so that's sweet. Thank you very much, and that's for crypto. So basically, again, you want to buy it within 15% of its higher high, and then you want to set your stop loss immediately at basically 95% of what you paid for it, and then as it moves higher, you move that stop loss up, and then when it pulls back, you should be in the green. So hopefully that's good. So thank you very much for that question. That's a very interesting question on crypto. Let's look at AMC, and of course, this has been a favorite with a lot of people. Now, the reason AMC spiked so much was because we had what they call these climax tops, and climax tops. There's several reasons that climax tops are, sometimes there's several reasons that climax tops happen. One of the most common reasons that a climax top happens is because there's what they call a short squeeze, and that's definitely been the case with AMC. Now, as you can see, I've drawn a line here, and maybe I should reactivate this line, but I'm going to reactivate this. But this is the line here at about $14 where we are starting to see potentially a short squeeze. The reason this went up like this was because what happened is people shorted it, and then as they shorted it, they had to cover, and as it covered, the stock went up. The proper way to play these is when you see the volume going up. This is what I was talking about with crypto. When you see the volume going up with these blue bars, that's buying activity. When you see this going up prior to here, then you know something's up, okay? Then this is the appropriate place to get in, is right here when it starts going up. And then as you get in, you move your stop losses up. And so eventually what will happen is it'll peak, and it peaked here at $20, and then it will crash back down to earth. And of course, you'll have a stop loss there, so you'll make money. So that's what I really recommend with playing these climax tops. Now, can you play the climax top in this case? Well, I would say no, and here's why. We had this volume happening here. As you can see, all these little volume spikes. These are these blue spikes here. So in the last few days, there's been a lot of volume activity, but see, look at how tight this action was. Typically, that's what will happen if you get 5 days of really tight action and it still goes up on more and more volume. Then you have the blow off top. It releases its pressure, and boom, it goes up. So when it starts to go up, that's where you start to move your stop loss up. So would I buy it at this point? No, I probably wouldn't, because it's not in the right position to buy it right now. So that's kind of how I would play AMC right now. But I just don't. I don't think it will go higher next week. Unfortunately, I just don't think it will, because it's already peaked at about 1450. It's already peaked at about 1450, based on the chart that I'm seeing. So I would not be. I would not buy this one. Right now, because I do think it's going holder. Now you may get another bite at this apple, but the chart action that I'm looking at, it's not time to buy this one, unfortunately. just not time to buy AMC because it's probably going to go lower next week. That's my guess. Take a look at, and this is another question from Kate. Thank you very much. This is on Microsoft. Microsoft's in a buy zone right now. And in terms of mega cap stocks, it doesn't get more mega cap than than this one. It's about 3 years ago. I did very, very well in the stock. I hadn't traded it in 20 years. Can you believe that? The last time I traded it was way back in 2000, actually 1999. 1999. Remember that by Prince? That was a great song. Anyways, but in 1999, that was the last time I traded it. I waited 18 years for this to come back to where it had been in 1999, and I started trading it about in 2017, and I've done very well since. Now, the question is it going to go higher? Well, it's going higher after hours, so that's looking good. It's in this buy zone. It's in this buy zone here. The pivot on it is 246, which is interesting because right now it is absolutely buyable, and I do think it is going to be moving higher. So at least in this next week, I think that it's looking pretty good. I think that Microsoft is looking pretty good in this next week. So would I buy it? Well, I'm not going to buy it. Obviously, I can't. I'm not going to buy it after hours, and I'm not going to buy it until Monday. And I'm not going to buy it in the first hour. Do you know that they typically call the first hour the amateur hour? And you don't want to buy in the first hour because a lot of times you'll buy and everybody will be excited and then it'll pull back. So wait about an hour after the markets have opened. The markets open typically 9:30 in New York. So you wait about 10:30, and that's where probably you're going to get your best price. But I think this is worthwhile, at least for the short term, to buy because it does look like it's on an upward trend. And even though it is not in a group that I particularly like, it's the computer software desktop group right now is 184 out of 197. It's still Microsoft, so it's still a great stock. So wait for Monday, take a look to see if if you can take a look on Monday. And then that's kind of where you want to possibly look at buying it because it is a great stock and I think that it is on an upward trend, at least for right now. Just want to kind of take a little break here and show you a little bit about the Discord room that we have. We have this thing. Basically, it's a Discord room, and basically it gives everybody direct access to me and other people too, because we have a lot of very good traders in the room. And what I do is I do these special options and stock trades. Right now, the market is kind of going sideways, so it's a very hard market to trade. And what I do in situations like this is I use options. And sometimes options can be very, 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 very good. Now we had a very successful trade on we had a very, very successful trade on Disney. Now Disney's numbers tanked, but our people did well because they had a bear trade on it. They did very, very well. Now I have one out today for the members only. It's an iron condor spread on Amazon, and basically what this will do is if Amazon sort of lowers its volatility, then it will profit. And basically, what we do for our members is we have these we show exactly how to get into the trade, kind of why the trade, how the chart, how to get in the trade. This is how to open it. I just did this one story. And by the way, I'm in this trade. I'm not just talking what the profit zone is for this spread trade, and how to do everything on that. It's basically available to members of the special Discord service. And you can find out more about this by going to this address, www.vinny.com/u. You got to put that U in there for some reason. I don't know why. That's got to be a lowercase u too, by the way. I don't know why this. I'm not as technical. I should be more technical, but I'm not. And then Dallas Trading Floor. And if you go there, you can take a look at this. And again, we have this very, very nice iron condor trade on Amazon, and that just went out to our members just a few minutes before the air. So we went to air, so that was pretty good. So hopefully you'll take a look at that, and maybe it would improve. Maybe you can make some money. Definitely our people made about $500 in about 3 days on the last trade on Disney that we had. So pretty exciting. Happy Friday. Your thoughts on BSY and MRVI. Let's look at BSI here. Let me just put this up. BSI. And flip over to the charts here. There we go. And basically, with BSY, let's pull that up. Hopefully that'll give us a. Is that right? BSI? Did I get that right? BSI? BSI. Well, I don't see. That doesn't seem to be coming up there. Let's see if I'm. This time on the right one. I probably fat fingered it. BSY. That's why. Okay, I fat fingered it. I fat fingered it. There we go. Bentley Systems. And they develop software that's used in large scale infrastructure projects, which is there definitely going to be a lot of those coming up because there's going to be a lot of spending in that area. So this is what's doing well. There is a buy point on it at 49.99. It's currently at 49.96, so it's right at the pivot. So that is very good. It looks like they had some very nice earnings. Earnings per share were up 16%. Now, here's the problem with this area. I like the fact that they're in the infrastructure biz. This one might buck the trend of the software group, but the software group right now is not doing very, very well. So I'd be a little bit careful about this, even though it's in the right area of the market. 60% checklist. Would I buy that? Well, it's got 117 funds in it, and the industry is this is the problem. The industry rank right now is 165 out of 197. So I probably would pass on this one. Let's just be for fun. Let's take a look at which industry groups are doing the very best. And this is how I was able to come at some of the interesting stocks that were very bizarre that have been doing very well, like Mosaic, Mosaic and IPI fertilizer stocks, several weeks ago. I mean, it's not that I knew anything. It's just that I was looking at which industry groups were getting the love. And right now, this is the top industry groups: agricultural chemicals, wholesale jewelry, wood products. I mean, this is stuff that hasn't been good in 20 or 30 years. Some consumer building products are good. So this is where the money is flowing into the market. So this is kind of where you want to look to see kind of what's going on. Now, another interesting area here is the apparel business. Now, this is something that's not commodity related, but is doing well. So kind of let's take a look at this area to see if we can find any winners. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for winners. And these are the luxury good companies like LVMH. Everybody knows about that one. So let's look at a VF company, because I think that one might be doing a nice reverse. It's earning in 7 days. A little bit tight for me on the earnings. I think this one though is moving up into a very nice pivot. It's VF Corp, and they manufacture basically jeans. They're kind of like Levi's, but very big. They're the biggest jean maker in the world, and it looks like they're starting to see some good action here. Here's the thing: the earnings are in 7 days, so I probably wouldn't buy them. But this is kind of what you've got to look at. It's really tough because we've all been accustomed to looking at the big tech companies, and right now the big tech companies just aren't doing as well as they were. They just aren't. The software companies are not doing as well. But there are other places in the market that you can go, and one of the areas, believe it or not, is this apparel and luxury goods. Luxury goods seem to do well, and LVMH is the biggest luxury goods. And I didn't put up the chart for them. LVMH is the biggest luxury goods, France-based. I think it's the second or third or maybe fourth richest person in the world is the chairman of this. I mean, this is Chanel, this is all those great brands. They do very, very well in downturns because they appeal to the rich that have money to spend. Us little schlubs that are middle class, we don't do as well in these times. But that's another place to look. It's kind of odd, but it is. That's a good place to look. So let's look about silver mining companies. Well, here's the thing about silver and gold miners. And you would think I've been talking about miners. And you would think, well, gosh, the mining companies are good. Why wouldn't the gold miners be good? Well, it's just a bizarre thing. But for the most part, the gold miners are not doing all that well. And so the gold and silver miners aren't doing that well. But I want to take a look at one of them called Franklin, Nevada, FNV. And that basically, it's not a mining company. What they do is they own rights to mines. That one might be one you consider. It's not a gold miner, or a silver miner, but they have interest in gold and silver mines, and they're up today. This is one. It's called Franklin, Nevada. It just went through earnings. Their earnings were quite good. It was up 48%. It's not particularly in a great area. See, mining and gold and silver and gems. This is 169 out of 197. So I don't really like this area, but if you're going to be in this area, this is the one probably to look at. FNV is the symbol there. Why? Because this company, they don't actually prospect. They own rights in productive mines. So this one you could probably get in. It's a little bit low on it before it's a little bit below the pivot. So this would be a very early entry here, but it's definitely up in terms of profitability. They just went through profits. And so profits are up 45%, sales are up 28%. So that's looking very good. So in the silver space, if you want to be in this space, I don't recommend it because of the strength of the group. I don't like to be in a group that's in the bottom third. But this is but if you want to be in the silver miners, this is probably one of your best bets. It's called Franklin Nevada Corp, FNV. And it's definitely it could be bought now. It's really a little bit low on the pivot, but it could be bought right now. So that might be something to look at. All right, let's go back to Jeet's question. Let's look at MRVI. MRVI. Pull that in, and that's Marvel Life Sciences. Now, here's the thing about I keep saying, well, here's the thing about, I'm selling a broken record. Life sciences and pharma, very hard to trade because they tend to be very binary. They either just doing great or else they don't have any profits. So it's a very tough area. This company, based in San Diego, is basically a drug therapies company, and their sales are up very nicely. 191%. They just announced, and 186% in terms of profit. What are they going to do? Well, they're in a consolidation right now. I'm looking at the weekly chart. You could possibly look at buying this, but I would buy it above the $40 level. Now we're very close to that. 37. Let's look at the strength of this. Unfortunately, this group is just not a very strong group, and I'm very, very leery about buying in a weak group, especially in this market. Right now, this group, the biomedical and medtech group, is 157 out of 197, so it's not the best group. Here's an alternative that you might want to consider, and this is one. Most of the time I like to own the stocks because I typically get a better. It works better. But there are times when I want to own the ETF. And in this case, I think BIB, which is the biotech ETF by ProShares, I think that this one might be the where to go. Now, unfortunately, I wouldn't buy it right now because it's been selling off. But this might be an alternative to MRVI. And the reason it might be is because it's a basket of things. But right now, it's trading below the 200-day line, so I'm not as interested in it. So I probably would not be interested in either two of these. I just probably wouldn't. Okay. Oh yeah, this was the interesting. Carl, thank you very much. Thank Carl from Sweden. That's fantastic. Louisiana Pacific LPX is one of the largest owners of timber stands in the United States, and also actually overseas too. I think they own stuff in Borneo as well. A friend of mine many years ago worked for them. So, interesting company. But it's looking, again, this one is looking very good. Now, I was shaken out of this. I had a position in Louisiana Pacific, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but right now there is a massive timber shortage. There's a massive timber shortage. Timber prices are up like 77% in just since the beginning of the year. By the way, there's a lot of timber. There's a lot of good plywood manufacturers in Sweden too. So that's going to be very big. It's going to be a boon for them, I have to admit. Would I buy it at this level? Well, it looks like it's getting some support at the 21-day exponential. So, even though I got shaken out of this one, the earnings have been stellar. Look at that. Up, their sales are up 785%, and I believe their profits are up. God, their sales are up only 74%, but their profits are up 785%. So that tells you that there is a absolute demand for their products. So I do like this company. I really like the chart. Can you get into it now? It's a little bit tough on the entry. I got shaken out because what I did is I bought above the 10-day line, but it looks like it's firming up. So I think you could buy this one. I really do, Carl. I think you could buy this one, and I think it would be it potentially could be a very good, very good acquisition at this level. So I wouldn't buy it today. Obviously, you can't because it's after hours, but wait until Monday, and I think you might be looking. It might be looking pretty good. Your thoughts on today's market because of the options Friday? Interesting. Yeah, it's good. It's good that you're holding cash, Jeet. Right now, I have to say I'm 65% in cash. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I lightened up on. I had fairly large positions in Apple. I lightened up on, and I just this is a tough market. Until we get some more direction, I think you got to be much more careful about committing capital because it's just too easy to lose it right now. But there are some opportunities, and things are starting to set up. And that's why I'm really concentrating on many of my spread trades, because they have a limited they have a guarantee on they have a guaranteed maximum loss. So I do like that. And actually, in one of the ways, they're actually in a time like this, it's actually better to be trading options, spreads, not the naked options, but spreads, because it does protect you on the downside. And this is a tough market. Okay. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for that. And you're on Kindle Jazz, right on. Yeah, again, hey, thank you for bringing that up. Just wanted to, again, kind of show everybody out there, and again, it's a pretty good little group that we've got going on. I'm trying to, a lot of the people in there are very good traders too. So, it's not just me. There's some other people in there that are quite excellent as well. So, it's a good way to go. But if you're interested, here's the address: Vinny, VHINNY.com/U. And this is small, lowercase u. I don't know why this is, but it is in Dallas Trading Floor. And so hopefully you'll get to it. If you don't, if for some reason it messes up, and we've been trying to get these technical glitches, just send me, just go to www.DallasTradingFloor, send me an email, and I'll make sure that it's all working for you. So we have been having some issues technically. So thanks for bearing with us. But yeah, I mean, we do have, it's a good little group, and it's I was listening to some people, they're paying hundreds of dollars for these Discord rooms, which is great, but I want to make it a little bit more affordable. Right now, right now we're sort of in this ramp up phase. So we're it's very, we have a subsidized price, and it's looking pretty good. But some of the people that have been in the room last week, this week made about $500 on the bear trade on Disney. That doesn't happen all the time, but hopefully it happens. I'd like that to happen every week or so or more. That's my goal, anyways, is to try to share that. And by the way, when I do these option trades, I'm in them. I mean, I don't just do it and say, hey, here it is. I'm actually in the trade. So I either make or lose money like everyone else does. Oh goodness. How much did you pay for? Gosh, it's fairly expensive. It's in the thousands for Market Smith. Now I have a year, and I think it's worth it. I've had other charting software, and I've tried to use everything else. It just doesn't come close. So I swallowed hard, and I put it out there. And one of the reasons I have the Discord room, by the way, is so that I wanted to buy this. I was going to buy the software, but I wanted to share it with everyone because I thought their price was too high. But so that's what I try to do in the Discord room is share out that software, because it is kind of expensive. So unfortunately, if you do it by the month, it's several hundred a month. So. But it's worth it, actually, if you trade a lot. So That's a very good question. All right. Well, have a great weekend too, Kate. Thank you so much. By the way, that Microsoft looks good. Here's the thing: don't buy it until about an hour into the trading day on Monday, because I do think sometimes, you get a better deal if you wait a little bit, because that's they call it the amateur hour. They don't call it the amateur hour for nothing. So that's what they do. So I think we have one last question. Oh, Oh, I didn't even go over the Nasdaq. This is really important. And normally I go over the Nasdaq every day. Let's. It is very important that we take a look at the Nasdaq, because that is the chart that we want to. That is the right now. Unfortunately, the Nasdaq has not been doing as well as as we would like. I mean, I like to trade Nasdaq stocks, but right now the Nasdaq Composite is not the leading index. It is the following one. Basically, the S&P 500 is doing better right now than the Nasdaq. This is a good sign on the daily chart. We're moving up to the 50-day line. Now, hopefully next week, hopefully next week we're going to move above this 50-day line, this red line here, and we'll move up to about 1412. My target in the next about 2 weeks on the Nasdaq Composite is about 14,200. 14,200 is my goal, because I do think we're going to see it oscillate back up to this $1,400 level, $14,000 level. But we're still lower. We're still below that. We're at about 13.5 right now, and that's essentially where the 50-day line is. So I do think we're at least in, I don't know if in physics class, I was in physics class, believe it or not, you have the sine wave. It's kind of like the sine wave. It's sort of going up there. So it's kind of like a sine wave. And that's how it oscillates. But right now, at least for the next 2 weeks, I think that we're going to see some strengthening in the Nasdaq, just based on the chart, not based on anything else. So I do think it's going to strengthen in the next 2 weeks, but it's not. But right now the index is not very strong, and that's just a unfortunate deal. Okay, so basically, I pretty much come to the end of the hour. But here's the thing: we have just for everyone to show you again on the. On the specialized Discord service, you can go to this address, and you should be able to take a look. And I do have a trade out there right now. I don't know if I think it's only available for members of the Discord. I think that's true, because I didn't actually post this one. And that is the trade on Amazon. We have an Amazon trade on there right now, but and that's on there right now. So okay, well, great. I hope to see everybody on Monday. Hopefully hopefully on Monday I will be hopefully Monday I'll be back now at 2:30 Central. I'll be back, and till then, everybody, stay safe. And I think it's a tough market to trade right now, so keep right now, try to play a little bit smaller ball. Try to keep try to keep a real tight lid on your capital, because it's a little bit tough market to trade. So I'd like, if you're in 50% in cash, that's okay. That's okay. Right now you want to preserve your capital, because the opportunities are going to come. But right now you got to be very, very careful, because the market is going sideways and down a little bit. It's not moving up like it was. So be very careful, conserve your cash, but there are things to buy out there. Until Monday, happy trading.